Hi, I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. This is the fifth installment of my discussions in philosophy, and I want to talk in this video about coping with weakness. But it's not coping with weakness in some abstract sense, in a very definitive sense. I'm, as many of you know, in the process of doing a Nietzsche Will to Power series. And in the Nietzsche Will to Power series, Nietzsche recognizes, whether you believe it or not, whether you accept it or not, Nietzsche says himself that religion becomes basically an institution for the weak. And I've been thinking about this for a number of years, to be honest with you, this idea of being an institution for the weak. And I'm not a religious person per se, in any sense. I'm a very spiritual person, but formalized religion is not something that I've really ever taken part in outside of, ceremonies and stuff with the family, which is neither here nor there. I'm not saying it's good or bad. That's not the intent. It's just, just a side note. As far as religion is concerned, however, there is a great benefit that religious institutions of various kinds offers the devotee, the religious devotee, and that is the idea of coping with weakness. It's really difficult to cope with weakness. It's difficult to even acknowledge that you are, in fact, weakening. As you get older, you can't run as much as you used to run. You're not able to work at your job with the amount of vigor that you used to be able to work. As we get older, we sort of come to a greater recognition of our mortality. It's a process of aging. But part of that process is a recognition of things that you didn't recognize when you were young and youthful. When you're young and youthful, you're completely unaware of weakness, for the most part. All that you are surrounded with is sense of power. And the question is, and I think it's a pretty important question, and it's a question I've been searching for an answer for a very, very, very long time. Are there secular institutions to help secular people with their battles with weakness? Religious institutions have basically cornered the market, not for a good or bad thing, but religious institutions help their devotees cope with weakness. Whether that weakness is the weakness that they experience because of financial limitations in their poverty, whether that weakness is based in their gender, whether that weakness is based on their race and ethnicity, whether that weakness is based on any number of factors, right? Religion is, yes, it's an institution of devotion and such, we know that, but, and this is not me really, this is all Nietzsche. The idea is that religion is an institution that allows the devotee to come to terms with, to come to grips with weakness. And the truth of the matter is that we all come into this world in a very, very vulnerable state. And assuming that you live your life to the point of natural death, you leave this world in a very, very vulnerable state. And you can see it's a bit of a bell curve, right? You have an apex of power in your peak, and then all of it declines, and you just look back to those years when you were at your height of power. But for an agnostic, for an atheist who doesn't believe in, or doesn't understand, or doesn't claim to know in the afterlife, what the circumstances of the afterlife are, it doesn't lessen the sense of angst that is experienced by one's recognition of one's weakness. And I just don't know of any secular institution at all. And I'm not talking about hospice and all that, right? You don't have to take it to that end. Just a secular institution that helps individuals cope with the fact that they are gradually getting weaker. And you can, this is discussions in philosophy, so you can think of weakness and the idea of growing weaker in whatever sense that you want, to facilitate discussion. But it really is something that has troubled me for many, many years, ever since I started reading Nietzsche. And Nietzsche doesn't, unfortunately, offer, this is one of my critiques of Nietzsche. And I don't want to get into too much detail because I'm currently doing that series now. But it's one of my critiques to Nietzsche. He raises this amazing point, but he never gives any resolution to the point. It's a bit disheartening. But that's the question that I have for you. And I would really, personally just I'd like to get some insight into this, because I don't know of any non-religious, non-sort of dogmatic institutions that will allow, and not that I'm agnostic or atheist either, right? This is more of a discussion point. This isn't about me. I just don't know of any secular institutions that will allow a secularist to come to terms with and cope with weakness. So I would appreciate hearing the discussion that you guys have to say. Leave your comments below and help me out a little bit. With that, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell. Have a good day.